Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Rice, and today I'm really excited to introduce to you a fantastic, amazing real estate professional from Georgia. Her name is Lynn Winger, and I just want to let you know if you are considering a move to Georgia or know anyone who is, you will definitely want to hear from her. Hey Lynn, how are you today?
Hey Jennifer, I'm doing well. How are you
Good.
doing?
Good. I'm sure it's a lot warmer in Georgia than it is here in Indy.
Thankfully, it is finally getting warm here, so that makes me happy.
Awesome. So we already said your name, but please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us, your name, what areas you serve, and just a little bit about your real estate journey if you want.
Okay, well, I'm Lynn Winger from Peachtree City, Georgia. That is just south of Atlanta. And I always, just to give you a little background, a little bit, Jennifer, I always kind of giggle a little when people say they want to move to Atlanta. Atlanta is 13 metro Atlanta area counties. So we have to basically go a little deeper than that, define a little bit what you mean by you want to live in Atlanta. I actually live in a condo at Atlanta Motor Speedway. My son is a professional race car driver, not asphalt on dirt track, but he travels the United States on a touring series. And it's not necessarily what we do it for recreation, but he also does that as a living. So I've had my license since 2018. He turned 18 in 2018. And so I decided I needed to do something besides, just sit around and figure out what I'm going to do. So real estate has always been intriguing to me. And I got my license and off we go.
I love that. So that's funny that you bring up Atlanta. It is one of the largest cities in the United States. I can't even imagine the traffic, but I think it is important when we are talking about Atlanta to, break it down into what area, like you said, because there's so many counties. You said there's 13, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my office is in Fayette County, Peachtree City. Um, Very cool little town. Back in the day, I'm going to date myself a little bit, but going back to Eastern Airline days, this is the town, Peachtree City, where all of the Eastern pilots lived. And even to this day, there are still a lot of the airport employees and even Delta pilots that live in Peachtree City.
Oh, wow. That's nice. So would you say that Peachtree City is a suburb of Atlanta?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a cool little town. One of the another claim to fame here in Peachtree City is it's a golf cart town. So there are just as many, I tell people when they're looking to absolutely consider Peachtree City. You have golf courses, you have golf cart paths, bridges, underpasses for golf carts, the whole ball of wax. So it makes getting around town in a golf cart fairly easy.
Wow, that sounds like the life I would like to be living. So
Yes.
wonderful. Well, can you kind of tell us just a little bit about, what's the real estate market like in that area? So people that are thinking of possibly moving there.
Let's take it back up a little bit to more of an Atlanta area
Mhm.
because and even going out into the metro Atlanta area counties, it's patchy is what I would call it right now. There are some areas, probably the more rural listings that I have right now, those are seeing longer days on market. Um, then there are some that are in the more um, populated areas, I guess you could say, for sure, the popular areas, and those tend to see they can see multiple offers. Now, when I say multiple offers, that may mean two or three, not 10 or 15 necessarily. So it just depends. I wouldn't say the market is terrible by any stretch of the imagination. I think that it's holding steady for the most part, but there are patchy areas, more rural, that are seeing longer days on market.
Okay. All right. Well, if someone wanted to come check out this area, what are some things that are really fun that people could do? You mentioned golfing, so if someone
Mhm,
loved golf, that would be a great place for them to go, right?
mhm. Yes, for sure. Um, that's the cool thing I think about Atlanta. There's so many different things just in North Georgia and in general. We have the mountains to north of Atlanta. We have the mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains. Then in the Atlanta area, I would say that you would be hard pressed to find anything that you can't do here. Um, there is an equestrian community here to a certain extent. There is, for instance, I live in a condo at Atlanta Motor Speedway. My family races, as I mentioned. So there's the racetrack down in Hampton. They have the races a couple of times a year there. They host the NASCAR race. And then there's also throughout the year, they have different things that they're just events that they're holding there. Um, there's always lots of shopping in and around the Atlanta area. There's there's lakes, there's golf courses, so many golf courses in the Atlanta area. Um, so really anything that you could think of that you want to do, you can probably do it here in the Atlanta area.
I'm trying to think how it would be living at a racetrack. Obviously, there's condos around, but do you get admission to these races? Like, can you see the race from where you live? Like, I'm very intrigued.
You can actually, you can look out the back window at the condo, or the back wall is a window, nothing but windows. And you can it looks out over the racetrack. So when the races come to Atlanta Motor Speedway, you can sit in the living room and watch the races from the living room.
So is that would what type of races would come there? NASCAR, IndyCar, all different types of races?
NASCAR currently is the
NASCAR.
only
Okay.
NASCAR and Xfinity, which is a lower division of the NASCAR races. Um, Once upon a time, pre-COVID, they had drag racing on the front straightaway, down like where they use the area that they use for pit road.
Oh,
So
wow.
they don't have the drag racing anymore. They haven't brought it back. Everybody keeps waiting for them to bring that back. And then on Thursdays during the summer, they have what's called Thursday Thunder. And that's the cars that a lot of the drivers that people are familiar with in NASCAR racing, that was where they got their start in either Bandolero racing, and then you move up to Legend racing. So they have those races on Thursday nights during the summer.
Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. So I'm sure the ones that are at night, you have to be a night owl because you can probably hear the racing going on. That's
You
really
can.
cool.
Mhm.
That is awesome. Well, as you know, people from Indy love racing, so it's kind of like an easy transition for them to come down there if they like racing, right? You notice my shirt, checkered
Yes,
flag.
yes, I love that. And I'm always going to pick up on the checkerboard because that's just the life that we live anyway. So it's so cute that you've recognizing that that's coming up and you all, it really is very interesting how the prestige of that race has gone on for decades, really, for the Indy
Yeah.
500. And it's
Yeah.
really something that the entire community gets around.
Yes, and you need to come up here ASAP.
I do. I do.
So, my question to you, what advice would you give for someone considering moving to your area or to Georgia in general? Because Georgia is a great place to live, but it's a very big state. And what advice would you give to someone?
The best advice that I think I can give is just to figure out what you truly want. Would you want to be in the North Georgia mountains? Do you want to be close to Atlanta and all the things that Atlanta has to offer? Or would you rather be, South Georgia where it's more rural? Or do you want to be over near the coast of Savannah? We really do have it all here in Georgia to offer. So I think that figuring out what it is that's important to you for your lifestyle and where you want to live, and then you can narrow it down from there. Um, I'm more than happy to have conversation with anyone who would like to know a little bit about each of those. I can give you general information on them if they're in other areas, the coastal or the rural or even the mountains. Um, and then, of course, we both know agents in all of those areas too that can give them more specific. If it's something that's in the Atlanta area, I'm happy to give anyone information that they may need to be more specific to that.
Sure. Well, it basically sounds like, and we already knew Georgia has everything. It has the mountains, like you said, the beach. Savannah is really fun. I've been there before. It has a lot of golf. I mean, you guys just, and you're close to Florida. So, hey, a lot of people, I will say, people from the Midwest, people from all over the world are driving through Atlanta to get to Florida, to Disney, to all those different places. So it's just a lot closer. How close are you to Disney, actually?
Actually, well, I know the answer to that question very well because we go quite often. Ashton, he's 25 now. For his first 18 Christmases, that was exactly Santa came to Disney World. So it's from my front door to Mickey's front door. It's about 6.5 hours. Mhm.
That's it?
That's it. Yes,
Oh. Why aren't we living in Georgia? Because from Indianapolis, it's about 16 hours, and that's too far to drive, but
it
we'll
is
do it
too far.
anyway.
Yes. And
We'll
for
do.
now, I'll just stick with going for a visit every once in a while. But the perfect retirement job would be to work at Disney.
Well, that can be your goal.
Yeah,
Listen, we just need a lot of people to move to Georgia, and then that can be your goal.
there
I'm
you
so
go.
glad I got to talk to you today, Lynn. We've learned a lot about your area and so many reasons why people would want to move to Georgia. You have the life there, you're living it. So thanks
Yes.
so much, Lynn. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. And it was so good to see you.
Good to see you. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye.